Hey everybody, Mike with Everyday Barbecue here. Today I'm going to share my experience with this Ninja Foodi Possible Cooker. It's a slow cooker. It's got lots of different functions. I really wasn't even going to review this. I bought it on my own just to use here because my old one quit. But I like it enough that I want to share some stuff with you. So here's my experience with it. All right, now I've got a lot of notes here, and the manufacturer has a lot of stuff listed on their website as far as features. I'm going to put all that information down below because they sort of overstate a lot of things, and I'm not going to go through all that. I'm just going to talk about the things that really matter. Now, first of all, I have used this several times, and I'm going to talk about some of those cooks during this review video. By the way, the exact model number for this is, and I'm just going to read it off the paper here, this is the Ninja MC 1001 Foodi Possible Cooker Pro 8.5 quart 8-in-1 multi-cooker. That's a lot of words. When my old slow cooker quit, I was ordering slow cookers from Amazon like no tomorrow. I must have ordered 4 or 5 different slow cookers, and they all sucked. They all had some kind of a problem, and they had poor quality, or one of them wouldn't even turn on. I mean, they were junk, and they were all different brands. So those were like in the $50 to $80 range. I finally decided I'm just going to bite the bullet and get this thing. I think it was $140 at the time, but it had a lot of cool functions, and I was like, man, I kind of wonder if those things even work. If not, maybe it'll just be a better quality cooker. So it'll just be something I can unbox, put on the counter and use and not have to worry about it breaking or not working. And that's been the case so far. So compared to those other ones that I bought, this thing's been great. Quality is great. The weight, the feel, everything on it, I have to say I'm pretty happy with it. Now there are 8 different functions that this machine has. So I've done slow cooks in this. I've done birria, I've done soups, I've done several different recipes, chicken recipes like a slow cooker chicken Kiev. In fact, I did that video. It's up here on the channel. I did a lemon butter chicken, which I haven't edited yet. That video will be out on the channel at some point coming up. If it's up by the time I launch this, I'll put it in the iCard. If not, I'll put it down in the pinned comment once it's ready. One of the coolest things is that it does sous vide, and I have never done sous vide before until I got this machine. It sort of just gave me the guts to do it because it was just everything all in one, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And my video that I did on that actually is also going to be on the channel. It's on the channel now, I think. Yeah, it is on the channel. iCard up here, link down below. And that tri-tip turned out great, so I was happy with it, and it tasted amazing. Now, since we're on the subject of sous vide, let's talk about that. This machine doesn't have a circulation type sous vide setup, so it's just the temperature of the water that does the sous vide. So without that circulation, you do have to leave your stuff in here a little bit longer than you would if you had an immersion circulator or if you had just water circulating, because that gives it a little bit faster and more even bringing up the temperature around the entire piece of meat, especially if it's something larger like a tri-tip. But have no fear, it works. All you got to do is give it a little bit more time, and it's not that much more. I think, like I said, 30-40 minutes for a 2.5 pound tri-tip. If it was just steaks, it might only be 5 or 10 minute difference. And a lot of people leave those steaks in there forever anyway, so what's the difference? One thing about the sous vide that I'm not a fan of is it only goes in 5-degree increments. So for example, you can go from 125 to 130, but you can't fine tune it in between, which still works out fine, but some folks are really particular about their sous vide cooking and they really want to dial in precise temps. This does not give you the ability to do that. Now this also has a saute function. When I make soups, I like to saute down my veggies with some oil, and I like to get some really good flavor in there and just let those flavors sort of release before I put in my broth or anything else. So it actually did saute. It was pretty amazing. I didn't expect it to work, but it did. Also, when I make birria or I make any kind of shredded beef or barbacoa, I like to sear my beef before I put it in the slow cooker. Now, because this had a sear function, there was a time not too long ago, about a week or two ago, when I did this cook, my wife had just cleaned the stove and she's like, oh, just please, if you sear that stuff on the stove, you're gonna get oil everywhere. So just, you know, can you go without the sear? And I'm like, I forgot this thing's supposed to sear. So I did use it as a searing apparatus. And to be honest, it did okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't anywhere near as good as a pan, but I would give it a 5 out of 10 maybe. So it worked. It did what I needed it to do, but I wouldn't get too excited about the sear function is my point. It does work, but it's not anywhere near as good as a pan. I didn't use the steam function. I haven't used the braise function. I didn't use the proofing function for bread. This has mostly been a slow cooker. I did saute with it. I did sous vide, and I did sear with it. So that's what I've used it for. And I wasn't disappointed with any of the stuff that I've used. but I haven't really gotten into checking those other functions. If you're a bread maker, go ahead, knock yourself out. Let us know down in the comments, how it works. Now that we've talked about the cooks, let's just go into some of the pros for this. First of all, it's big. It's 8.5 quarts. There's tons and tons of space in here. So if you're having a party or you're having a gathering, we got the Super Bowl or the big game coming up, this would be a really good option for you because you can fit a ton of food in here. Lots of chili, lots of soup, lots of stew. Whatever it is that you want to make, this is going to hold a ton of it. Before I forget to mention it, they give you this tool. This is a silicone tool, and they want you to use only silicone tools with this because it's got a very good non-stick surface in here. So no scraping with metal tools or anything abrasive. You can use this or use something else silicone that you have around the kitchen when you're cooking. This whole pot actually will come out of here, and you can take this and transfer it to the oven if you wish. So if there's some sort of a cook you want to do where you're starting in here and you want to transfer to the oven, you can do that here. This will be good in the oven. I believe it's up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This is also very easy to use. It's got a knob in front with a couple buttons, and it's very self-explanatory. It won't take you more than a couple tries to figure out how it works. Some of the other stuff we had come in that didn't even work, it was so complicated just to get little stuff done and to just turn the thing on. This thing works very, very simple. Haven't had any issues with that. And, my wife and I were able to figure it out really, really quickly. Now let's talk about the cons. There's only 2 things about this that I would like to see them improve based on what it is right now. The first one is the low cook setting is really low. It's not really low. It's a safe temperature, but it's lower than most other slow cookers that I've used. So that may extend your cook time. If you're cooking something on the low setting, this may take a little bit longer to get it done, just because it's a little bit lower temperature on low than what I'm used to seeing. And I'd rather have that because I've had some slow cookers in the past. There's one I have still own in particular that if you put it on low, it's like crazy hot. I mean, you can't even use the high setting on it. Now with that, the keep warm setting is also really low. So I like to do like a keep warm setting for the last hour of my cook with almost anything that I'm serving. And I've just found over the years that by doing that and by lowering the temperature inside the cooker, the food has more flavor when you serve it if you give it about an hour on keep warm. This one on keep warm, it's just not warm enough. But the low setting on this can be used as low and a good keep warm setting, which is something that I've done. I don't even use the keep warm setting because I just think it's too low a temperature. Now, is it a deal breaker? No, it's not. It's not a big deal. I just use the keep low setting and I'm good. Especially when people start to eat and they take this lid off and they set it down and now there's nothing covering this and keeping the heat in. If you had it on the keep warm setting, you'd be disappointed because the 3rd or 4th person that got in here, maybe for seconds, they would probably say the food wasn't warm enough. But if you use the low setting, it'll be all right. Now, I do recommend this thing. Ninja has no idea who I am. This video is not sponsored, and that's fine by me. But if you want to buy this thing, if you're interested in it, I'll have some links down below. They will be affiliate links, and I'll try to put 2 or 3 different sources for you so you can get the best price. So thanks for joining me. Take care. Till next time, I'll see you on the next episode.